and I hope you are coming to that. It's free. You don't have to register or do anything like that. You just have to show up. It's at the famous First AME Church here in Los Angeles, and the lineup of speakers, those who want to pay tribute to Reverend Jackson, is long. Mayor Karen Bass, civil rights activist Dolores Huerta, former Congressman Jesse Jackson Jr., who was obviously the son of Jesse Jackson, Rabbi Stephen Jacobs, Tavis Smiley, Reverend Timothy Tyler, the California Secretary of State Shirley Weber, and Dr. Cornel West, of course, the amazing leader of the LA Fed, Yvonne Wheeler. All of those folks are going to be at First AME, and we are going to be paying tribute to Reverend Jesse Jackson. Tavis promised some video clips that we've probably never seen before, some great music. So I hope that you will be there with us, and I am very, very much looking forward to that. It's a time when I feel, really can benefit from just that fellowship, and that it's important for us to pay tribute and uplift those that have contributed that at a great personal sacrifice to our community, to our liberation. And in the case of Reverend Jesse Jackson Jr., it's not just the liberation solely of Black people, but of working class people and of the rainbow, which his coalition included a rainbow of genders, ethnicities, and sexual orientations. Really happy to see that the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame has nominated Lauryn Hill, Luther Vandross, and Mariah Carey, of course, Sade also, and Wu-Tang. So, yeah, Wu-Tang forever, Wu-Wei. This is a really nice, what they're bragging about it being a diverse lineup. Good for them. I mean, rock and roll was invented by Black people, newsflash. So that is not the flex that you think it is, but it's good news. So congratulations to the nominees, and I hope all of those folks get in. I mean, Luther, Lord help us. How many hits, how many babies, how many weddings, how many love stories owe their beginning or their ending or both to Luther Vandross, Mariah Carey? What? Of course. And if you're going to say Lauryn Hill has the greatest album ever, which is what they say about the well, I think it was Rolling Stone or was it Billboard that designated the best album of all time? Oh, your mic's not on.
Let's say you don't get in. Do you get to be put on a later ballot? I mean,
yeah,
I
think they can nominate people. I'm pretty sure they nominate people again when they don't get in. Yeah. So apparently, Billy Idol was nominated last year and didn't get in, and he's nominated again this year. So, yeah. And there's a couple of others, the Black Crowes and Oasis, who have apparently been nominated before. I'm not on their fan websites or their fan mailing list, but so I guess you can get nominated until you actually get honored. And I think it's dope. We've, just like with so many of these award shows, so we have had award shows and honors. We've often been shut out, we being Black people, we being women. And so it's nice to see the inclusion of the inventors of the format. And in the midst of this swirling controversy around BAFTA, the British Oscars, if you will, it's great to see some good news in terms of honoring the creative contributions of Black folks. I saw a girl, I don't know her name, I should have kept it, on Instagram yesterday, a Black Brit, saying how happy she was that the BAFTAs were getting smoke. She said that they have a long history of racism and slights of Black Brits, but that the Black Brits, according to her, are too polite or too timid to go hard on BAFTA. She says, no, Black Americans, not so much. They're feeling the heat right now, and she's happy about it. And, okay, I'll take that compliment. But it also bolsters my theory about why Black actors, Black Americans, are being shut out of even playing Black civil rights heroes in Hollywood because we are not afraid. And I'm not going to say we're not polite, but I think we're very polite. But when it comes to our rights, we're not British enough. We're not repressed enough to go be polite and let you make us sit at the back of the bus forever. That's not the legacy of the freedman, of the black American, of the Negro. That's not us. And the world has benefited from that, okay? And so it's lovely to see that being acknowledged. The world has benefited. I do consider myself a Pan-Africanist. We're all black. We're all related. Even white people. Your mama, your great 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 granny is in the Nile Valley. Somewhere around Ethiopia way, Kenya way, over there, right? So I'm not saying that we're not all connected. I do believe black people are connected, Africa's children, wherever they are in the world. However, I think special love and recognition is warranted for black Americans who have taken a hit for a lot of the rest of the world a lot of the time. And so this woman's acknowledgement of how now finally BAFTA is feeling heat because black Americans are mad. Thank you for acknowledging our fire forges justice for people all over the world. And you do see that in Africa. I've traveled around Africa a lot, as you know. We're about to take our 8th trip there in June. And when you go to Ghana, when you go to Nigeria, you're going to see tributes to black Americans, W.E.B. Du Bois, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King. Those tributes are there because there's a recognition that we have been the front lines of global justice. If it wasn't for the Civil Rights Act, if it wasn't for the advocacy of black people being fire hosed and put in jail and all this marching that we do, women in this country would not have equal rights. Not that we have total equal rights. We're still not getting paid equally, but the rights to the extent that we do have them, the extent that we are able to hold on to them through this crazy administration. That is in large part, and yes, I'm not saying we don't have allies. I'm not saying other people aren't important, but we have been the ones taking the punch to the face, right? The sock in the chest. And we have done it proudly, being the moral compass in many ways of the planet. So good on you for acknowledging that. It was wild that the Tourette's advocate who started this, it really wasn't him that started. His outburst, his involuntary tick started this outcry against BAFTA because he said the N-word, and then the BBC and BAFTA failed to edit it out. Well, the activist said the N-word, and who I still think should apologize. He has a policy against apologizing for involuntary ticks, and I get that. I think this is a special situation. It's the N-word. It's national and international television. It's insulting to black men. I get it. But in any case, he said on yesterday that the BAFTAs edited out, or the BBC edited out, a slur against LGBTQ folks. He said he came out accidentally or involuntarily, I think is the correct word, with this tick, which was an LGBTQ slur, and they edited that out, but chose not to edit out the N-word. So the hierarchy becomes very clear in that case. Yeah. Anyway, I think it's right that we're bringing heat, and I think it's interesting that I'm hearing about how behind the scenes Warner Brothers and these agents for these actors are actually bringing pressure to bear too, because they do not want their actors disrespected in that way. But I'm sure that they don't want to have Delroy Lindo and Michael B. Jordan out there, with the fist in the air like they're at the Olympics, or, marching with the sign that says black people are not apes. Like, I'm pretty sure they don't want their actors to have to do that. So they're trying to go behind the scenes and clean up the mess. And the conversation is good. The conversation that's coming out of this is good. It's a conversation about who gets to decide what the harm is and what the repair is. It's a conversation about whose comfort is prioritized. It's a conversation about the stealthy ways in which black folks are disrespected and expected to suck it up, be polite, and keep it moving. Even if that means you get cancer, you get ulcers, you suffer weathering, and thus, as the data shows us, you suffer the consequences physically for the psychological and physical harm of racism and white supremacy. No. You're not the decider. And that's an important conversation. And that conversation is happening right now. And I also think the talk that we're having, the good talk we're having about disabilities, the disabled, what is the grace we give? To what extent do we allow folks who have disabilities to be normalized? To what extent are we ableist, meaning that we discriminate against the disabled and normalize only those who we would consider to be able-bodied? All of these are important conversations that make us a tiny bit smarter or a whole lot braver. Love to hear from you, as always, 800-920-1580, or in the KBLA chat. I'm Dominique DePrima for Unapologetically Outspoken, KBLA Talk 1580.
Thanks for starting your morning off with a voice that speaks truth to power and the powerless, getting to the heart of what matters most in our community. This is where authentic conversation meets real action. From breaking news and politics to culture and community solutions, this is where you hear perspectives you won't hear anywhere else. This is where we come together, get informed, and make change happen. You're inside First Things First with Dominique DePrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
Good morning, sunshine. You make my day.
I love a day on the water with friends, but my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis sometimes holds me back. Now I'm all in with clearer skin thanks to Skyrizi. Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy.
Teaching music is my passion, but my active psoriatic arthritis can limit me at times. Now I'm treating my joint symptoms with Skyrizi.
With Skyrizi, most people with plaque psoriasis saw 90% clearer skin at 4 months.
Or if you are an adult with active psoriatic arthritis, Skyrizi helps you move with less joint pain, stiffness, swelling, and fatigue.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines.
There's nothing like clearer skin.
There's nothing like better movement, and that means everything. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi. Visit Skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKY-RIZZI to learn more.
What's up? What's up? What's up?
We got to laugh the pain away.
Hey, KBLA delegation, happy Black History Month. Around here, we celebrate our culture, our community, and our contributions daily. But this year, as we observe the 100th anniversary of Black History Month celebrations, we're excited about our annual KBLA Talk 1580 Black History Month Luncheon, honoring comedy greats. On Thursday, February 26th at the Grammy Museum in downtown LA, we're toasting D.L. Hughley, Melanie Camacho, Earthquake, Munell, Dion Cole, and Martin Lawrence, with a surprise guest appearance. A limited number of individual tickets for the luncheon remain, so now would be a good time to head to KBLA1580.com to secure one for yourself. That's KBLA1580.com. A little laughter goes a long way, especially in times like these. So come, join us for our annual KBLA Talk 1580 Black History Month Luncheon, Thursday, February 26th at the Grammy Museum. Again, tickets are available right now at KBLA1580.com.
Well, I hang around my boy. He's been married for 6 years. Videotaping his wedding day, never watched it. Now every day he watch it every day, but he watch it in reverse. Because he said he loves seeing himself take that ring back off of that finger. Walking back down that aisle, just waving at her ugly mother down the turd, getting back in the limo, back at the bachelor party. Look how happy I was.
KBLA Talk 1580 thanks LA City Council members Curran D. Price Jr. and Heather Hutt for being the presenting sponsors at this year's Black History Month luncheon. Honoring excellence, resilience, and achievement, we're KBLA Talk 1580.
The California Crusader newspaper would like to thank all of our subscribers for their support throughout the years, proudly serving the South Los Angeles and South Bay areas for more than 40 years. The California Crusader is a multicultural, black-owned, adjudicated newspaper that focuses on providing newsworthy information to the people in our community. We're constantly looking for ways to assist businesses in our community to connect with our subscribers. We provide low-cost, effective ways to promote your business with our reasonable and affordable advertising rates. You can participate by suggesting, sharing, and submitting your stories on the California Crusader newspaper Community Share Facebook group page, or visit our website at cal-cruise-news.com. That's calcruisenews.com. Then click on the Submit Now button located on the top right corner of the homepage, or text CCN to 42828. Again, text CCN to 42828. The California Crusader newspaper, working together to build a better community for our future. Subscribe today.
The conversation continues right now with Dominique DePrima on First Things First.
And the funeral services are underway. The long and rightfully so goodbye to Reverend Jesse Jackson, starting today in Chicago, and of course, we have our program Friday, tomorrow from 7 to 9 at the First AME Church here in Los Angeles. All are welcome. Obviously, it's free, open to the public, and it will be a heartfelt and powerful goodbye to the Reverend Jesse Jackson. That being said, it's just the news cycle is so fast. The House Oversight Committee tweeting, yes, apparently House Oversight Committee has a Twitter account. They tweeted, "No one is above the law, not even the Clintons. Accountability is coming." And, this was January 30th, this tweet. But to me, they got a lot of nerve tweeting that when there has been Zippo accountability for Republicans, or really anybody, criminally named in those Epstein files. Why is the president still the president if nobody is above the law? Oh, wait, the Supreme Court just said somebody is above the law, specifically the President of the United States, and probably because they knew what was coming with these Epstein files, not to mention the 34 felonies and cases that were working their way through the legal system. Meanwhile, out of the other side of his mouth, James Comer, the chairman of that committee, says, "Oh, no one is accusing the Clintons of any wrongdoing. We just have a lot of questions." Oh, yeah, well, Bill and Hillary Clinton, the former president, the former secretary of state, initially said, no, we're not doing this. We're not going to testify. And then later they changed their mind because they were under threat of being held in contempt of Congress, which could have led to jail time, criminal charges. So they're going to testify behind closed doors. It's meant to be recorded. It's under oath, though. And this is questions from the lawyers for the committee and investigators. It's part of a congressional investigation into the Epstein case, which, surprise, surprise, they're not clamoring to answer your questions about President Trump or other Republicans in there, Elon Musk, and why he was jockeying Epstein to try to get invited to the island. We don't have investigations about that, but Bill and Hillary Clinton will start their testimony to Congress today. I believe Hillary Clinton testifies today, and Bill Clinton will testify tomorrow. So that's happening. Meanwhile, this very bizarre incident in Cuba, off the coast of Cuba. I'm trying to figure out exactly what went down, and I think this is one of those things where we may not know for some time, but apparently there was a speedboat off the coast of Cuba. It's a small island not far from Miami, from Florida, very close. If you were good, you might be able to swim there. And this boat was carrying Cuban nationals. In other words, people who are Cuban citizens at one point who are so-called refugees or who live in Miami. These are folks that would typically would have been called, well, I don't have to say it. They're conservative Cubans who hate the Cuban communist regime. And apparently according to the Cubans who shot this boat down, they were trying to do harm. They were shooting at the island nation. 4 people were killed by Cuban authorities. It's a speedboat. They say that they believe these folks were trying to commit terrorism on Cuba. Now, our Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, his parents are Cuban. He's never been there, but, he's butthurt about the regime there. And on a mission, like I said, it reminds me of a kung fu movie, to get vengeance for my father. So I've always believed that Cuba would be next after Venezuela for an invasion and possibly kidnapping their president. Currently, Cubans are starving and struggling because the Venezuelan oil has been cut off and they are without power. Our country has been blockading their country for 60 years and keeping food and trade and commerce and supplies out. It's a miracle that Cuba has survived at all. This boat was 1 nautical mile northeast of El Pino Canal, and they were in Cuban waters. Apparently, they were carrying weapons. 4 people have been killed, and according to the Cuban Coast Guard. They say the people on the boat opened fire, and the Cubans shot back and won. Russia has put out a statement saying the Cuban people, no one should be blocking the Cuban people from humanitarian aid. And obviously they're referring to the U.S. This fact that Russia's making a statement when they didn't say much about Venezuela is a clear and dire escalation. So, friends and family, eyes on Cuba. 800-920-1580 if you'd like to weigh in on this or any of the other things going on across the country and across the world. I'm Dominique DePrima for KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580 is an intervention. When we come forward, includes you. KBLA Talk 1580, turning pain into power.
I'm Esther Dillard with BIN News Now. Former VP Kamala Harris tells the podcast The Parnas Perspective that President Trump's State of the Union was full of lies. Here's some of what she said, courtesy of Fox News.
It was nothing that was true about really how the American people right now, so many are suffering. The guy lying about what he intends to do, what he has done, and the state of our economy and the state of the world.
Trump claimed during the speech the State of the Union was strong. She rejected that, noting high prices in housing, healthcare, and at the grocery store. The Northeast is bracing for more snow Thursday and Friday as the region is recovering from a major storm that dumped up to 3 feet in some areas. And Chicago will host their first HBCU Baseball Classic at Wrigley Field May 2nd. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Hi, I'm Angie. Did you know a billboard can save a baby's life? It's true. You can make a difference by helping us spread the pro-life message to reach those who are struggling with an unplanned pregnancy. Please make a gift today. Visit prolifeacrossamerica.org.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
It's been a tough season for the USC women's basketball team without All-American Juju Watkins. The Compton native is sitting out the entire season to recover from a knee injury. Without Watkins, USC has not been ranked in the top 25 since January 12th. The Trojans fell to 9-8 in the Big Ten, 17-11 overall after losing at Penn State Wednesday night 85-82. They close out the regular season Sunday at home against UCLA, the number 2 team in the country. UCLA has won 21 straight and will likely be a number 1 seed in the NCAA tournament. Even if the Trojans upset UCLA, they're going to have to go deep in the Big Ten tournament to have a shot at the NCAA tournament. Both of LA's NBA teams are back on the court tonight with a 2-game losing streak. The Lakers, 2-4 in their last 6, are at Phoenix. The Clippers are at home against Minnesota. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
This Friday night, KBLA Talk 1580 invites you to gather with us as we honor a legend. Join us at 7 p.m. at the historic First AME Church for a celebration of life for the Reverend Jesse L. Jackson Sr., civil rights leader and tireless champion for justice. For decades, Reverend Jackson stood on the front lines of change, fighting for voting rights, economic opportunity, and equality for all. Now, the community comes together to reflect, to remember, and to celebrate a life that helped shape a nation. Music, prayer, powerful tributes. That's this Friday, February 27th at First AME Church in Los Angeles, 2270 South Harvard Boulevard. KBLA Talk 1580 thanks our partners for this celebration of life service in honor of Reverend Jackson, the United Faith Coalition, the Empowerment Congress, LA County Federation of Labor, and SCLC LA. For details and coverage, stay with KBLA Talk 1580.
I am black, beautiful, proud.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. The Michael's Daughter Foundation is dedicated to inspiring youth and resilience through storytelling, arts, filmmaking, and enrichment programs for youth and families in under-resourced communities and system-impacted individuals. The Michael's Daughter Foundation is a 501c3 nonprofit providing free and low-cost arts programs to youth and families from under-resourced communities, both system-impacted youth and those affected by the incarceration of a loved one. 1 in 43 children in America have a parent incarcerated. 70% of those children are expected to end up in prison. Through filmmaking, animation, theater, and writing, they help young people express themselves, build confidence, and imagine new possibilities. Beyond the arts, they offer financial literacy workshops, emergency support, and scholarships. Because thriving takes more than talent, it takes access. To learn more about the impact of Michael Daughters Foundation and how you can be a part of the movement, please visit their website, michaelsdaughterfoundation.com. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with the world. African Focus Incorporated is a community-based organization whose mission is to bring Africans and African Americans together, lead charitable initiatives on the motherland, and educate people from all walks of life on the beauty, legacy, and opportunity of Africa's 54 nations. And it's that time once again when African Focus is teaming up with KBLA Talk 1580 for our 8th annual African Focus Trailblazers Tour. Travel with us in 2026 when we're headed to the southern African nations of Zambia and Botswana for a historical, cultural, and vacation tour led by me, Dominique DePrima, Cultural Ambassador for African Focus Incorporated. Enjoy luxurious accommodations, conscious fellow travelers, shopping, adventures, cultural tours, wildlife safaris, and a giant waterfall, one of the world's 7 wonders, along with a chance to be of service at an orphanage on the continent. Become an AFI trailblazer by exploring the motherland with a nonprofit organization that has members in Africa and America to help roll out the red carpet for you, and together we'll make a difference and have fun doing it. For more information, visit africanfocus.org or call 310-676-7300. That's 310-676-7300 or africanfocus.org. Whether it's stateside or exploring the diaspora, we're with you every step of the way. African Focus and KBLA Talk 1580. Come go with us.
Find a righteous rage and don't be afraid to say what you see. We're KBLA Talk 1580.
We are, and so glad that you were here. I wanted to add to that story about Cuba because I think this is going to be a very, very kind of a precursor to what we're going to see on the island. There were 10 people, according to the Cuban government, not verified by the CBS News report that I'm looking at. But according to the Cuban government, there were 10 people on that boat. They were all, former Cuban residents who now live in Florida. They were all armed. They had night vision stuff, reportedly, bulletproof vests, automatic weapons, tons of weaponry. And so it seems like what it's sounding like, and what the Cuban government is accusing, is terrorism, like some freelance kind of January 6th type stuff, like we gonna go get Cuba. They claim that, 4 were killed by Cuban authorities. The others are under arrest in Cuba, and they are claiming that one of these guys was on the ground on the island. The other 10 were in the boat, and that he was supposed to be like a scout or something. They're claiming that he admits that he was trying to help prepare for a possible influx of U.S. special forces or troops or whatever. Allegedly, but it tracks. This is Marco Rubio's pet peeve. He's at his peak of power, and he can make his little fantasy dream come true. And, I know lots of Cubans because I used to be married to a black Cuban. And one of the kind of sayings of Cubans who are progressive minded is that if the white Cubans in Florida all owned as much land as they claim they did before the revolution, Cuba would have to be 10 times as big as it is. So in other words, this family mythology comes here. So someone like a Marco Rubio, who's never set foot on the island, has their own mythology about Cuba being this paradise before the revolution, when in fact it was more or less a mafia playground, and you had a dictator in Batista who was oppressing the people, and there was a, very much of a dictatorial system. And black people, of course, of which there are lots and lots and lots and lots and lots on that island, were at the bottom of the barrel, like usual. Now they are being starved by the U.S. due to a 60-year blockade, and it's now gotten even worse with the seizure, the pirate-style seizure of Venezuelan oil. But everyone there can read, and you imagine what they could do without us blockading them and basically holding a 60-year grudge instead of being a helper, moving them towards the kind of democracy you want to see. Although, to be honest, people are meant to have their own governance. We don't get to dictate what other people do with their governments. The United States has never gotten that memo, but that is the truth. A federal judge has ruled that the Trump administration has broken the law by deporting migrants to countries that are not their own country. They're sending people to Sudan and Ghana and other places they're not from. They're sending people who are seeking refuge in the United States because they're prosecuted for being LGBTQ in their country to countries where it's illegal to be gay. They're sending people to countries where they don't speak the language, where they have no rights, and where they are far away from any connection to anything they know or any resources. Apparently, this is against the law, and they're supposed to at least have an opportunity to appeal that removal. District Judge Brian Murphy says that policy is invalid. Homeland Security is probably going to appeal that decision. The judge says it's not fine, nor is it legal to send people to unfamiliar and potentially dangerous countries without any legal recourse. Unconstitutional. It is, one of a series of setbacks for the Trump administration. But the fact of the matter is, for the most part, they are ignoring the judge's rulings and continuing to do whatever the heck they want. I don't know how long this goes on. How does the judicial or the Congress enforce the rules? We haven't seen a convincing show of force from either one. But it is still a sensible ruling, and a ruling that I would put in the category of good news for the Constitution. And this, the decision doesn't take effect for 15 days so that the administration can appeal. But nevertheless, this judge is stating the obvious and putting some legal gravitas behind it. Let's go to Ira calling us from LA. Good morning, Ira.
Good morning, and protect black women. I just had a prediction and a question about Gavin Newsom. He's going to be the next American president. So I'm wondering, how do you people feel about him disrespecting you to your faces in Atlanta like that?
Who is you people?
Democrats. I mean, he called.
Oh,
he said
okay. Democrats are you people. So you're not you people.
No, I'm not a Democrat. I escaped that plantation a long time ago.
And who took you off? Was it Harriet Tubman? Like, who helped you with that?
No females. I did it myself.
Oh, no females? Because you're too busy protecting us to be helped by us.
Yeah, the paternalism. Yeah, that's patriarchy works. The patriarchy won.
So patriarchy works. So what do you mean when you say protect black women?
Black women who are for black men need to be brought into the womb, brought into the family, and they need to be protected at all means.
Under the patriarchy.
I'm sorry?
Under the patriarchy, you say.
That's correct. And it's the patriarchy that's won. If you look at any of the winning nations or winning people, they're patriarchal. That's what wins.
Woo! Have you ever heard of Queen Hatshepsut? Anyway, so the patriarchy wins, and the patriarchy will protect us. That's what you're telling me.
That's what it's done for. It did it for 3 million years before the slave trade began.
How does the patriarchy protecting the victims of the Epstein crime ring?
Oh, it didn't. Those people were working outside of the patriarchy. They were sort of new progressive types. Matriarchal.
Donald Trump is a new progressive. Jeffrey Epstein is a new progressive. Former Prince Pedo is a new progressive. Alleged Prince Pedo is a new progressive.
Well, it's unfortunate. The victims, they escaped from their families. And they did so because they had a very progressive mindset. They wanted to do their own thing away from the family, protection of the family.
So these children are responsible for their own abuse, is what you're telling me.
We don't blame children around here, Dominique. What are you talking about?
Well, you just did.
No, I did not. I said a lot of the people who were involved in this escaped from the patriarchy. And they wanted to be progressive. They wanted to do things on their own. They wanted to get away from the protections that they had with their families.
Okay, Ira. Thank you for your opinion, and have a lovely day. Happy Black History Month to you, sir. Ira called me at 800-920-1580, 800-920-1580. He called to say that he thinks the patriarchy won and Gavin Newsom will be the next president. Not sure that I agree with either one of those statements, but if you want to weigh in, you're certainly welcome to do so. I know they're talking, I haven't looked yet, but I know they're chopping it up on YouTube at KBLA 1580. Whew, woosah, woosah. Yes, let us breathe. Let us go back to our Mindful Monday and take that deep breath. Let's go to Fred calling us from LA. Good morning, Fred.
Hello, Dominique. I know you can hear me now. Can you hear me?
Oh, boy, the patriarchy is on the phone this morning. Good morning, Fred. How are you today?
Okay. Now, there's two things. I'm fine. There's two things. You get these callers are listening, and they question the intelligence of Trump supporters, or they call Trump supporters low intelligence. I really find that intriguing. And then
have you heard that? Have you heard that on my show? Because I hear that a lot on like MSNBC and other shows, but I don't know that we do that a lot around here, Fred. I feel like I feel like I'll attack the policy position or the statement, like Ira was saying, the patriarchy won. But I personally don't feel like there's benefit in just calling people dumb. I think it's better to try to bring them into the light, to try to bring folks into progress, to try to see if we can bring folks into an understanding of what would be in the best interest of the greater good.
Okay, well, I don't know if you can bring me into the light, but anyway, I wasn't going to refer to the caller yesterday. Then he went on and talked.
One thing I love about you, Fred, you do listen. You don't agree with me on much of anything, but at least you listen, and we can go back and forth on the basis of actually listening to each other.
And then they ran a raid about the 14th Amendment, and we'll call the people of American Negro descent. Well, that's in jeopardy. No, the case before the United States Supreme Court is about two things. Can women from Asia and Europe come in with a visa and have their children, and are their children U.S. citizens? Or better still, the women that are coming from south of the border with all their troubles come across the border 5 minutes before they quote-unquote crown.
What troubles are we talking about here? What troubles? Like, they used to be down with El Mencho, and I mean, what are we talking about here?
The women from South.
So let me ask you a serious question, Fred. What is it that you know that the majority of lawyers and legal scholars do not know that assures you that Supreme Court, should they rule against birthright citizenship, will narrowly define that only to impact people who are not Black Americans? Like, where is that guarantee? Where is the legal insurance? Not your kind of, I have a good feeling about MAGA, but your actual evidence to support the fact that this will not end up, taking away the citizenship status or the automatic citizenship status of Black Americans. Where's the proof? Where's the guarantee?
Well, because I can read the 13th and 14th Amendment, and every time I read it, it refers to the emancipated slaves and their offspring.
Right, but we're talking about overturning. We're talking about overturning, asking the Supreme Court to overturn part of the 14th Amendment, which is birthright citizenship. So what makes you think that they're going to somehow protect Black people in our citizenship? To me, that's a leap of faith. It's kind of like believing in the Easter Bunny.
Oh, I see where you're coming from. You think the Supreme Court is going to overturn the 14th Amendment. No,
we don't know what they're going to do.
Is only asking to interpret interpret the 14th
Interpret it in a way which overturns a key provision which has been part of our Constitution, which is birthright citizenship. So the 14th Amendment can stand, but how is it still the same 14th Amendment if we no longer have birthright citizenship?
You should read Section 5. It says the Congress shall have the power to enforce this amendment. In other words, this shouldn't have even went to the court. This should have been interpreted been legislated by the Congress.
You mean
don't want to do it.
You mean, what are you talking about? The Republicans control Congress. No, Fred, I've never known you to be, delusional. Well, I have known you to be delusional. I've never known you to be someone who appears to be completely out of touch with reality. Congress. The Democrats have no power in Congress, very little power in Congress. The Republicans control the House of Representatives, the Senate, the judicial, and the executive. That is every section of our government. So how can you even fix your mouth to say that Democrats don't want to do it? The fact of the matter is the Congress is supposed to have the power of the purse. So what do you want them to do? Arrest the president and tell him to stop all the DOGE cuts, stop the cuts to USAID, stop shutting down the Department of Education, stop cutting grants for Medicaid and Medi-Cal, stop the defunding of everything because they don't have the power of the purse? The president is doing whatever he wants. And so for you to... So what are you asking Congress to do then? What can Congress do? You say Democrats don't want to do it. What should they do? What do you want them to do?
The 14th Amendment, they should do their power and address it. And address it. The 14th Amendment was only written for I just told you.
By a vote?
I think it's
by a vote of the majority.
It would take a 60 vote to get it through the Senate. You have
By,
to bring it to the floor, and it would take
Fred,
60 votes.
So basically
you're
BSing. No, because we don't control the Senate and the Congress. All right, I go ahead and land for me. I'll give you another 30 seconds, Fred, because the Easter Bunny talk, I'm not here for it today. The Easter Bunny,
Thank
Santa
you so
Claus,
much,
I hate to
Dominique.
burst your bubble, but 30 seconds starts now.
Thank you so much for your time, Dominique. Bye.
Oh, that was a fast 30 seconds. Fred and Ira, two of our resident Republicans, but, pretty far over to the MAGA side. If you would like to call, the number they called is 800-920-1580, 800-920-1580. I must have been a very, very bad girl to get both of those calls back to back. I'm just playing. I'm not scared of the rhetoric. I just, I will not allow prevarication in real time. That's one of those presidential powers, along with immunity. Doesn't fly on KBLA. We got a lot to talk about, and you're welcome into the conversation. I'm Dominique DePrima for KBLA Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominique DePrima when we come forward.
We interrupt our program to bring you this important message. Hi, I'm Tavish Smiley, and I have some news. The room is full. Our founding members cohort on the art of conversation has begun, and I could not be more energized by the professionals who said yes to mastering the craft. Their dedication to curating great conversations reminds me why I do this work. Now, if you wanted to join us and did not make it in time, I want you to hear this. The next cohort is coming. I do not have the firm dates yet, but I do have a waiting list. And everyone on that list will receive early access and special discounts when enrollment opens. After almost 40 years of interviewing world leaders and cultural icons, I am teaching everything I know. Don't miss your chance to be in the next room. Go to TavishTalks.com and get on the waiting list right now. That's TavishTalks.com. The conversation continues. Will you be part of it?
Yeah, man.
Attention community leaders, are you ready to strengthen your impact in the community? For more than 25 years, Community Development Services has helped nonprofits build strong communities by empowering community leaders and emerging professionals with the support they need to create lasting change. Starting a nonprofit or need a fiscal sponsor? Need expert nonprofit accounting services? Want nonprofit financial management training for your staff? Are you a college accounting student seeking an internship opportunity? Call 424-289-4330 or visit communitydevelopmentservicesinc.org. Community Development Services, providing support, improving communities.
We're not for everybody, but we're for everybody. You're listening to KBLA Talk 1580.
Oh boy, we've got attorney Carl Douglas coming up next hour. That's going to be fun. Let's get these calls in. Let's go to Barbara calling us from Orange County. Good morning, Queen.
Good morning, Dominique. I'll try to be real quick. In honor of Reverend Jesse Jackson, we need to be helping these other states, especially Texas, get Jasmine Crockett elected. What do we need to do? That's number one. And at the service that you guys are going to have, are you guys going to be registering people to vote in honor of Reverend Jackson? I was watching the State of the Union with another show. They covered it, what needs to be done and what they did in the past to get people to be registered all across the country. We need to get busy. So when you talk to Dr. David Horn, can you find out, because there's over 300 seats up for grabs, which ones are the most critical besides the ones in Texas? And I know I'm already donating to John Ossoff campaign every month. It's only a small amount, and I'm going to definitely do the same for Jasmine Crockett. But what do we need to do, and can we get a delegation to go to Texas and I guess Georgia or whatever to knock on some doors to help people get registered, whatever we need to do, like we did for President Obama?
Yeah, there's delegations that do that all the time, Barbara.
Very last
transparent.
You need to,
Say that
it would be a good idea to connect with a community-based organization, because there are delegations like the NAACP or Black Lives Matter, because there are delegations that go do door knocking every election, not just for Obama. That does happen. It's a great idea. I don't believe we'll be registering voters on Friday, although it's not a bad idea. Here in California, we have same-day registration, although it's better to register in advance. And I'm not sure quite, I don't quite have the voter registration deadline in front of me, but you're right, 'tis the season to get busy, for sure. And I think here in California, we've got some crucial races in our own backyard here as we flip those 5 seats. Some of those may be in play. We also have, we've got a governor's election, which is really important. We've got 2 Republicans as front runners right now. So we clearly have work to do sweeping around our own front door as well, Barbara. Appreciate the call, and I appreciate you paying attention. And I will ask every political scientist between now and June 2nd when we have our primary election the questions you have posed. Charles from Compton, you got the mic.
Yeah, Dominique, how you doing this morning?
I'm blessed. What's on your mind?
What's on my mind is that when you're talking about the cops killing young black men, the numbers don't add up. It's blacks killing blacks. That's what's going on. You don't want to discuss that. Why is that? Blacks killing blacks.
Did someone let out the Republicans out of the lockup or something? What is going on today? Charles, I do not have a problem discussing community violence. I was part of the urban peace movement, still am. Big advocate for the gang intervention movement, which has been very, very successful here in Los Angeles and across the country. We actually have homicide rates that are at some of the lowest rates since we've seen since the 1960s. On the police side, police shootings by the LAPD are up 70%. So those are both important. We do not want violence. Lives are important. Community violence is important. Police violence is important. One is a crisis at the moment, and one is something that is, while one body bag is too much, we are seeing a steady reduction. Crime is down. Crime is down. We have less body bags. We have fewer body bags in the city of LA and the county of LA than we've seen in many, many years. While police violence is up, while the sheriff's department has gangs, while we are continuing to see a steady increase in the number of black people killed by police every year since 2020. I'm a data-driven person, Charles.
Ma'am, let's switch subject right quick. Karen Bass. Now, she's one of the worst mayors we ever had, and other radio stations talk about that. Now, Curtin Price, he's dirtbag. Mark Ripley Thomas.
Why do you hate yourself, Charles? Who hurt you?
No, I'm telling you, I know when.
Why do you hate black people? Why do you have something bad to say about
everyone? Ma'am, I love black
Name one.
people.
Name one. Name one.
Ma'am.
Name one.
Martin Luther King Jr. I love Thurgood Marshall. Harry
Okay,
Truman.
dead black people are your favorite ones. Okay.
Yeah. Don't bring up Jesse Jackson. I know the dirt he did over 40 years, shut down corporations, man. You don't talk about that.
No, he advocated for our people. Okay, Charles, call me another day when I'm not up against the clock, and I'd be happy to argue with you or maybe talk you off the ledge or offer you some prayer. 800-920-1580. Attorney Carl Douglas joins us next. Only right here.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Esther Dillard with BIN News Now. Former VP Kamala Harris tells the podcast The Parnas Perspective that President Trump's State of the Union was full of lies. Here's some of what she said, courtesy of Fox News.
It was nothing that was true about really how the American people right now, so many are suffering. The guy lying about what he intends to do, what he has done, and the state of our economy and the state of the world.
Trump claimed during the speech the State of the Union was strong. She rejected